that. So there we go. We got it going. So we're about mittens tonight. We've got some new folks on with us, and some of you are back for a second time and a check. So give me a little, why do you want to make some mittens tonight? Paula, why do you want to make some mittens? Oh, you got to unmute.
I've made mittens before, but I've never had very good luck with the thumb. So
Okay.
I thought maybe if I learned the right way to do it.
Well, so what happened with your thumb before, Paula?
Well, usually I get gaps, I get holes in there. And then also, I don't know, they just don't seem very secure after a couple wearings, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay, very good.
So.
Good. That's a good question. Good point. Who else wants to share why you want to make some mittens?
I'm kind of the same way. I'm always looking for some. I've done straight needle mittens before, but I don't think I've ever done magic loop needles. You know,
Okay.
use magic loop to do them. So.
All right, good.
And Angie, I did not get, was there a printout for this, for the mittens? I did not receive that.
Okay, well, I'll do a double check on it, and it will be included tomorrow.
Okay.
When we get your, let me make a note though. When we send your video out. So we'll make sure that you get it, Sarah. That's important.
Thank
you. Yeah. Who else why do you want to make mittens? Anybody else?
I just think they're cute.
Well, you're making little ones.
I'm making little ones. Here's my other set. I'm doing more. Another one.
Oh, good. That looks great.
Yep. So I'm making little ones for my great nieces, and they're just cute.
Do you have the little one there to show?
Oh, yeah. And my little one.
Show a little one. Oh.
I got to get my thumb done, but.
Okay. All right. Well, they look great. You know, I think mittens are one of those things that are kind of nice to be able to give. You could have a batch made up. One of the things I talk about, like with my sock folks, those people that want to learn to make socks, that you've got to turn around and do it again. Turn around and do it again. Turn around and do it again. You know, I have people come into the shop and they say, you know, I had this little hat pattern and I made it 100 times and then I lost the pattern and I can't remember it. That's how our mittens should be. That's how our socks should be. That should be how our hat should be. They should be those patterns that your kind of go-to patterns. You've got a friend that their niece is coming to town and you'd like to give her a little pair of mittens. I find them to be relatively quick to knit because we're doing them on the worsted weight yarn. And by adding the little color in, however you want to add color in, just gives them a little bit of spunk. And don't you like this wool stock yarn? Isn't it a really nice yarn? Really nice wool. And we all know that a mitten is warmer than gloves because our fingers being together. And 100% wool is always going to be warmer. So I know some people knit, you know, like to do some things with acrylic yarns. It's not going to be as warm as a wool yarn. And I know if we're giving them to kids that moms want to wash them and those kinds of things. And if you throw them in the washing machine with a pair of jeans or your clothes, they will felt. So they will become smaller. 100% wool will do that. So, you know, they could wash them just on gentle and lay flat to dry. It's when you throw them in a dryer that they get agitated, and that's the rubbing together of the wool causes them to felt. I had some very nice slippers that fit my size 9 feet that then became like this. So I took my jeans off, you know, they were in my pants and I threw them in the washing machine, and they're a really good example of felting. That'll be another class. But our mittens are, you know, they're somewhat fit, but they're not quite as much of a fit as like a sock would be. So you have a little bit of give to them. And the magic loop, you know, you got to figure out how to knit in the round. So this this allows us to create a round circle. So by learning magic loop, you learn anything for sleeves, little pumpkins, gnomes, anything that you learn to do in the round. So I know it's sometimes kind of frustrating until you do it. You got it, didn't you? You came in, Jeannie, and we got you going. Whoop, we got you. You're on mute. Unmute. Did you get it figured out?
I'm trying, I'm practicing.
Good, 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 good. Good, good, good. I know that, you know, as I work with my beginning knitters last night, they're doing really well considering that we're doing it on Zoom. But to really, they say, well, you make it look so easy. But to really remember that you're learning something new. And that's what I love about knitting is there's always something new to learn and something to challenge our brain with. And so don't give up. And this is a great thing to learn with. Any questions from knitting your cuff or anything like that that you ran into that you want to help with before I show you the gusset stuff? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go to our alternate camera. So we'll hope.
You know, Angie, the one thing that I did on my on this pair, on my cuff, is the first round is I knit around. Because if I start going into knit two, purl two, knit two, purl two, it seems like it's kind of, I don't know.
Sure.
It's not as shaped. I don't know.
Sure. That's fine.
And so I knit the first round and then I'll start into my knit two, purl two.
That's fine. That's fine. And in fact, sometimes I like to, this is my sock from the last, or my sock, oh my gosh, mitten from the last class. Sometimes I like to knit a plain round even before I join in the round. Sometimes I find that easier to do. And that's not all so bad. So you know how you cast on your 38 or 40 stitches? You could knit one round down and then split them. Then you have a little bit more to work with. That's not going to hurt. There'll be just a smidge of a little gap there, but you can stitch that up with your weave in, you know, because you've knit one round there. So you've got one round. Okay, we're going to build the gusset. And so a gusset, if you should be to this point, get my pointer, you should be to this point where you've knit, mine was to knit an inch up, okay? So then right here is where you just have been going round and round and round and round. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add these stitches in, okay? And you see that mine look pretty nice and tight, and we really have discovered a nice way to make that work. But do you see how there's a wedge that we're going to put into your mitten, and then that will give you your thumb. So that will give you the little jut out. And then what we'll do next week is we're going to come back and we'll knit then your thumb. So we have to do what we call some casting on of stitches. So we're going to do this together. If you're at that point and want to do it, you can do it with me. And if not, you can just watch. We're on your pattern where it says thumb gusset. So Sarah, I'm sorry you don't have this in front of you, but thumb gusset. It says knit up to the last stitch of the round. Now, the thing about we could put, this is just a circle, right? This is just a tube. So we could actually put your thumb right here if we wanted to. You know, because we're magic looping, we really kind of have a right side, left side, but we really have a circle. So at this point, everything is equal. Everything is equal all the way around there. So you could put your thumb wherever you really want to put it. After you place your thumb, though, then you have to get a front and a back so that then you can do your decreases right. Okay. But we'll do it how the pattern asks us to do it. So the pattern says to knit up to the last stitch of the round. But instead of saying last stitch, I want you to say last 2 stitches. So make yourself a note, write that on your pattern. the last 2 stitches of the round, and I'll show you why here. This was a breakthrough that we had. Because I taught this class before when we were having folks in the shop, and we were getting quite the bit of gap in it. And one of the gals says, I'm going to take the mitten class again because I was having a gap. And I was having a gap. She was having a gap because of magic loop. So if you'll knit up to the last 2 stitches, not 1 stitch, okay? And then it says place a marker on your round and knit the last stitch. And then you're going to knit around again. Okay, so go ahead and do that if you're at that point. Okay. So we place our marker like this, but we're not doing 1, we're doing this marker. We're doing 2, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Okay, and then I'm going to knit around. I won't have you look at my knitting around there. You'll knit around and you'll come to that marker again. And it is kind of important that you do those rounds because that's part of the height of the gusset. You know, you could say, well, I've knit around, why should I have to knit another round? That is just helping to increase our gusset area there. And then we're going to do a backwards loop cast on. And this is such a nice little cast on, and it's super simple. And it just really, we found it to really work well with these little mittens. All right. So we're coming up, knit to the marker. Coming up to my marker. So I'm on round 2. It says knit to the marker. And then slip the marker and then cast on. Okay. So it says cast on. Now for a backwards loop cast on, I'm going to take it down a little bit so you can see it. Okay. Backward loop cast on. You can roll your thumb underneath it like that. So you take a dip underneath it and you put your needle through and tighten it down. It's just a slip knot. Let me do it again for you. Okay. So I take my thumb over the top and I wrap it around. So it creates kind of a U, and I slip it on to the needle. Okay. Let me do it up close. Let me take my camera up close for you. Okay. And again, you're going to have a recording of this. So I take my thumb over, wrap it around, and then I come all the way to the opposite side and I slip and I put that loop on the needle and tighten it down. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, no worries. Let me show you another way. You simply take the yarn, you kind of pinch a loop, you twist it, and you put it on the needle and you pull it down. Okay, let me do it again. Just take it, you twist it, you put it on the needle and you pull it down. That's how we do a backwards loop cast on. So you can do it up and over your thumb, or you can just do a little bit of a twist. So what does it say? It says cast on and then knit to the end of the round. But you're going to knit 1 stitch and then cast on again. What was happening was we were doing this cast on and then we were getting ready to magic loop. Well, this stitch got really loosey-goosey. And then it really created a lot of gaps in that thumb gusset. And so at this point, I'm going to put 1 more marker on. That's my end of round, and I'm going to knit the last stitch. Okay, so this is how you should look. So we've added 3 stitches in. Okay. Now, when I get ready, I'm going to pivot, turn, push, 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 and I'm going to pull my needle around to do my magic loop. And this is where the difference is. If I had just done a backwards loop cast on here, this does not work. Okay, I mean, it works, but you really got to work to get it tight. So I like having this extra stitch here. I pull it around, and now I'm going to do my, is it a plain round? A knit round. So you do a plain round. Okay. So for our purposes, I'm going to come around and show you it again so that you can see. But I don't know if that makes sense to you, but if we do that little backwards loop cast on and then turn to do our magic loop, it gets really gappy in there. And so that's why we have added that 1 extra stitch there. Like I said, we could have put those markers, we could have put them right here and done it right here if you wanted to, and change that around, and that would have made it easier. So we're going to pretend like I have done my plain round and I'm coming up to my next increase round. Okay. So what does it say? It says knit up to the marker. And then what are we doing? We slip the marker. And then what are we to do? Cast on 1, right? So we're going to go again. And we're going to knit this one. And we're going to slip the marker. Now I'm going to do a backwards loop cast on. Okay, watch again. So I take my thumb down, wrap it around, put it on that way. And I just simply tighten it down. Split it. Then I'm going to knit to the next marker. So you're going to be building your gusset in here. Knit to the next marker. And then you'll do another backwards loop cast on. So again, this one, I'm just going to lift it, just twist it, and put it on my needle. Tighten it down. And slip the marker, knit 1, and then do my magic loop. Turn. So I'm going to be building my gusset right here with 1 extra stitch to spare. So now this time I've got 5 stitches. Then I'll knit a plain round and I'll have 7 stitches. Then I knit a plain round and I have 9 stitches. And you just keep going up like that. So there's always a plain round. And you see, let's go back and look at this guy here. So do you see how it's got, here would have been my 3, then my 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and I think I went to 15. Yes, I went to 15. Okay. And after you have done that, when you've got your 15, then you will do it. If you look at the top, it says cast on 1 stitch. So you'll knit across, cast on 1 stitch. You'll place these stitches on a holder. So like another piece of yarn, I took it out, so it's not on there. But there's another piece of yarn that holds these stitches here. And then you'll start knitting all the way up. So you can finish your whole mitten up to the top. So you'll knit up, it'll tell you how many inches, it tells you how to do your decrease. And then next week we're going to come back and I'll teach you how to pick up this little gap, mind the gap in here. It tells you to pick up 1 stitch, but I like to pick up 3 stitches in there so that it closes that gap so that we don't have those big holes that we're talking about right here. Okay, questions? Are you completely lost? So let's talk about what we changed on our pattern. we knit up to the marker, slip the marker, cast on one, knit one, and then make one. So yeah, Sarah, you could write this down and that would work.
Yeah.
Place a marker and knit one. So the way she wanted it done was just at the end of your round, which is all right. But the end of the round is where you turn for magic loop. And then you get this really loose little stitch there. It just does not work very well. So let me say it again. You knit to the marker, slip the marker, cast on one, knit one, cast on one, place a marker, knit one. Then you'll go around and do your whole plain round. And when you're knitting into, ladies, your little cast on stitch, it's kind of tight. It's kind of, you kind of got to dig in there to get it knit. You'll go all the way around. And then what you do, you're going to start growing that in there. So you do your cast on, you knit across to the row, to the marker, and cast on. So your marker is your clue for what you need to do, right? So what do you do after your marker?
Cast on.
Knit to the marker, and then what do you do?
Cast on one.
Cast on again. And slip your marker, and then you should have one stitch and keep going. Okay. Have I confused you? Okay, let's go back to seeing you all. What questions do you have? Jeannie, how's it worked for you this week?
For me?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good.
I had trouble because I'm a new magic looper.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knit two, purl two, knit two, purl. I get to my end of my row and I'm ready to pinch and pancake.
Yeah.
And I knit my last two stitches. I knit two stitches. Then the next two stitches are purl. And I had a little bit of trouble where to throw my working yarn.
Sure.
So I have a little place that doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
In my ribbing, but I think I've got it figured out.
Okay.
But my daughter said, Mom, are you going to tear that out? And I said, no, I'm not going to tear that out. I'm going to go forward and make this mitten. It may have some mistakes in it. Then I'm going to go back in to see Angie and get some more yarn and make a perfect one. How do you like my attitude?
Bless your heart. Good attitude. Good attitude. Yes. You know, I
gave myself a D. I didn't give myself an F because I had good attitude.
I think that deserves more like a B to me. Gosh. You know what? I've worked with women my whole life. Somehow that's how I've ended up. It's just my whole working career has been with women, which is
sometimes you just have to go forward.
Very rewarding. But I'll tell you, the women are really, really hard on themselves, and really, really hard. And, you know, we have this perfection sometimes that just gets in, you know, can really take away the pleasantries of doing what we do. So as I tell my sock knitters, you know, you're just going to get better. And so, Jeannie, you're just going to get better. And
yeah.
I still knit things that aren't perfect. And
I'm pretty proud of myself that I'm a magic looper.
I think that is really good. And she learned a magic loop off of our YouTube video.
After all these years.
I know. How many years you wanted to magic loop? If you're struggling with magic loop, go watch that YouTube video because Jeannie taught it.
Yeah. That's great. Where I am, Angie. I'm still just trying to not even master the magic loop, but I just keep practicing and practicing it.
Okay.
And I got some bulky yarn out, and Paula helped me. Thank you, Paula. Thank you.
That's good. That's good.
Latin to me. Latin. Anybody take Latin?
It feels that way. But I'm going to tell you, in all my teaching of knitting, it's been 6 years now, there always is kind of a breakthrough for folks. So
Right.
they, you know, there's always kind of, you're feeling like you're pushing against a wall. It's like, I'm not going to get this. I don't get it. And then all of a sudden you have a breakthrough. You know, you have kind of an aha moment where you say, you know what? I get it. I get it now. Or somebody might say something in Zoom and that clicks for you, or you see it a different way and it clicks. So I guess the moral of the story is don't give up. And these mittens are just a great project to practice that all on and to really build your skill.
I don't struggle with the logic of the magic loop, but I do have issues getting that last, I think because I'm scared of laddering, I'm pulling it too tight. And so then I look at, and I can't see that I'm pulling it too tight, like I'm not getting ridges, but I do kind of have to shove that needle through that last stitch a lot of times.
Yeah, you know, Joyce, that is kind of a finesse moment. And there are people that, well, it is. I mean, there are people that do pull it too tight because, you know, it's just kind of the right amount of tension. And that only comes with some experience.
I wonder if part of it, I am a continental knitter, and I think as I pull out the back one, I'm pulling it too close to the wire before I knit that first stitch.
You might,
and so I'm knitting that first one before I ever get that one, the first stitch on the front.
Yeah, well, I think it's good to be observant about that. I'm knitting the Advent socks, actually, working on them for what's coming in December. And I was really cinching up because I'm adding yarn in, and it's always tug, but not too tight. And so I got to where I was looking at that stitch and I noticed how I was really burying that stitch. So I think one of the things that is beneficial is for us to look at our knitting and say, you know, how does that look? Instead of getting all the way around and then going, oh, I should have looked at that before. So one of the things I try to teach is read your knitting, learn to read your knitting. Those of you that are new to a skill, new to knitting, new to this technique, one of the things you got to do is learn to say, that doesn't look right. And then you have to say to yourself, why doesn't it look right? And what could I do to fix it? Paula? Can't hear you.
I was just going around, I was doing round 2 again. And I did update my pattern. I wrote down, you know, knit to the marker, slip marker, cast on one, knit one, cast on another one.
No, you knit all the way across. You knit all the way across.
So when I got to my 2 markers, I had 3 stitches in between. So I slipped the marker and then I created a new stitch with a cast on, and then I knitted one, and then I created another new stitch.
No.
Now I still have
across. You got to knit all the way across.
Okay, so where do I do that second cast on? Just right before the last one?
Here's your markers. Slip marker, cast on, knit 3 stitches,
Knit.
cast on.
Cast on right before the marker? So right after the marker and right before the marker.
Right.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then you're going to come along and it grows. See, so it isn't just one stitch. That is a little bit misleading. It isn't. So it's growing. So then we come again and you cast on. And now this time you're going to knit 5 stitches, cast on. Next time you're going to cast on and you'll knit 7 stitches, right? Until you get to 15.
Right. Okay.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
I'm sorry.
Angie, does it matter that you do it just before the marker? With your cast on? I mean, like I'll knit one and then do a cast on. I might knit 3 cast on.
Well, you're gonna get, yeah, I think it kind of does. Let me show you.
It does? Okay.
I mean, it's all right. It's not the end of the world. Okay, not the end of the world, but let me show you. Let me show you. Come on. Your cast, see how you get a nice fabric in here, Denise?
Yeah, right. Yep.
So if your cast on, see how you get a ridge going up?
Correct.
That's where those casts on are. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you could get kind of a
You could get kind of
funky
you have a
looking.
nice a look in there.
Yeah.
So if you want a perfect mitten, you can't. You
If
want
you-
to do your cast on. You want to do your cast on here and cast on there. You
So
know,
cast on right after the first marker and right before the last marker.
that's right. That's right. Now, if you've got dark yarn and you don't see it, you know, like on this white, you would really see it if I
Yeah.
would a little cast on there in the middle. So,
Right.
and then that just keeps that kind of nice little line running up there. But do you see how nice and tight that line is?
Mm-hmm.
It's not gappy. And next week, we'll show you how to really avoid the gap here with your
So
pick.
how many stitches did you, this is a medium size adult mitten, right, Angie, that you're doing?
Mine is, yeah, I did the 40. Mm-hmm.
That's 40 stitches,
Uh-huh.
40 cast on?
Uh-huh.
And what size needles did you use?
Well, I used a 4 here, and I like my fabric much, but it was, well, I'm super loose, super loose. I go down a size or 2. And so I had made these before last year, and I felt like they were really big. And so I'm like, I'm going to go down. So I went down all the way to 4. And I kind of wish I hadn't, because they're a smidge tight. So this pair that I'm making here, I did on a 5. I did 40 stitches on a 5. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm that loose. And I may not like this pair even again. So again, it's one of those things that you have to figure out how you knit. I don't know if you saw the socks that we're doing for Advent. You happen to see Facebook Live. There's one that's this big and one that's like this big. And that's the difference in the knitters. You know, Jessica knits incredibly loose and Cindy knits incredibly tight. So part of knowing this is knowing how you work and how you knit. And then you adjust from there. So, you know, I might even go up to the 44. I might stay down on my needle size and go up to 44. Because again, you ask yourself, how do you like your fabric? Do you like the look of your stitches? How do I like the look of my stitch? You can't quite tell. Next week, we'll be able to tell a little more. How do I like the look of my stitches there? They don't look much different, but I think they are different.
They are tinier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're all doing stellar. And next week, your goal is to go ahead and finish your top of your mitten so that you have your needle free to go ahead. And then we're going to do our picking up and cinching up of this little guy. And then you'll be ready. You'll finish it. So you could get both of your mittens knit, and then you could have your thumbs ready to finish. So I kind of like to do that. Like I do my heels. I do all my heels at once. I do my toes at once. You can do all your thumbs at once. Do all of our extremities at once, right?
You know, it's getting really cold. I need these mittens fast.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, I think you guys look great, and best of luck. You let us know if there's anything we can help you with, and just get in position to do our thumbs next week. Okay. Thank you.
Angie, how's a good way to learn to weave in your ends?
I'll show you next week.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll show you next week. Yeah, that one I had 39 ends, and I have the other one. So that's 80 ends.
You're practiced.
I haven't done that one yet. I got to do that one. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Okay. That's a good question. I'll show you tomorrow what I like to do. Okay, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Angie.
Thank you for being here. Bye-bye. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.